哇，现在广州
Wow, are Guangzhou's resale housing prices falling that drastically now? Halved. In the core area of Tianhe district, if it falls any further, wow, the wait and see guys will win.
广州的房价跟发疯一样。
Guangzhou's housing prices have gone completely mad, utterly stagnant. Prices have plummeted back to pre-liberation levels. Take Baiyun District, for example. Right next to Metro Line 6, prices once reached over 140,000 at peak times. But now they've dropped to around 47,000 per unit, and that's for ready to move with existing certificates. Those who will buy homes this year are probably laughing all the way to the bank. Guangdong, long hailed as the locomotive of China's economy, is experiencing a sluggish economic performance, reflecting deep-seated problems in China's overall economic structure. The simultaneous decline in external demand and weak domestic demand has placed unprecedented pressure on this pioneering region of the CCP's reform and opening up. Guangdong's GDP growth rate has consistently lagged behind the national average, revealing the true dire state of China's economy. For decades, Guangdong became the world's factory thanks to low-cost manufacturing and a massive foreign trade system. But why is this model unsustainable now? Let's explore this in this episode.
今天是11月30。
Today is November 30th. Fellow Hebei natives, let me show you the temporary work market in Tuhua. It's not just Chaonan New Street where you can't find work. Business in Tuhua is terrible. Look, this whole street is full of people looking for work. There are very few employers hiring, and they're looking for fellow Hebei natives who only know how to make cotton-padded clothes and sweatshirts.
就现在的状况说出来啊，大家可能都不肯相信。
The current situation in Guangzhou is unbelievable. 120% of people are having trouble sleeping. Supermarket owners, restaurant owners, food delivery drivers, DD drivers, Meituan drivers, building material vendors, decorators, tile setters, nobody can sleep. Now, even those of us in logistics are having trouble sleeping. Why is this? Look at the market. Are there even any trucks left? I've been in logistics in Guangzhou for 20 years, and this is the first time I've encountered something like this. If I hadn't made this short video beforehand, I probably wouldn't be sleeping right now either. A surge in outbound travel is occurring in Guangdong. Even the government didn't expect so many people in Guangdong to be choosing to apply for travel permits. You might not believe it, but according to immigration data, hundreds of thousands of people have been flocking to apply for permits in just a few months. Even more surprisingly, over 50% of them didn't choose popular destinations like Spain and Italy, but instead opted for Turkey. Hey everyone, are you seeing what's behind me? A lot of big factories are shut down now, so they're all starting to go home early for the Lunar New Year. It's a huge rush to return to the hometown. There are so many people waiting for buses over there. Today, over a dozen buses are going back to Hebei. Because many factories are shut down, they've moved to Tianmen and Hebei. Go home early for the Lunar New Year. It's the start of the homecoming rush.
我老公被裁员了。
My husband got laid off. It's almost the end of the year, and the layoff is quite sudden. Are you off work? Yes, I'm off work too. I brought all my things back. Did you bring everything back? Yes, I brought it back. I didn't have much stuff, so a water bottle and a laptop. What happened? They just laid you off like that? I went to the company this morning, and right after the meeting, my boss called me in for a talk. I pretty much guessed what was going on. What about the compensation? It should be the N+1, which is written in the contract. The housing fund and social security contributions will be paid until the end of the month. I don't need to go to work tomorrow. Our whole department has been laid off. The job market in Guangzhou is so bad that I'd be willing to accept any job, even if someone gave me a temporary overtime opportunity. A couple of days ago, I was interviewed for an operations assistant position, and the boss and I chatted online for over an hour before he finally sent me an interview invitation. After that, I experienced HR offline interview. I waited for a response. Then there was an online interview. The salary was only $570 with no commission or performance bonus, no social insurance or housing fund, and only 1 day off per week. Yet there were over a dozen people competing for this position. When I arrived at 6 p.m., there were still 5 or 6 people in the queue for interviews. I don't know what $570 a month means to me in Guangzhou. My rent, including utilities, is $355 a month for a single room. The rent alone is already severely impacting my $570 salary. After that, they told me to wait for a response. Again, unsurprisingly, they rejected me.
兄弟们、老铁们怎么办呀？
Brothers, what should I do? I'm over, completely stuck at the Longhua bus station. So many guys are scrambling for daily wages, I can't even get one. What should I do? Brothers, help me. It's so tough. This time, I'm really stuck. Since the beginning of this year on social media platforms such as Douyin, WeChat video channel, and Kuaishou, a large number of young unemployed people have complained about the successive closures of businesses, leaving them in a nowhere-to-look-for-work predicament. Many business owners have publicly complained about a sharp decline in orders, tight cash flow, and the difficulty of sustaining their businesses. These grassroots voices reflect the reality of China's accelerating economic downturn. In the first 3 quarters of 2025, Guangdong's GDP grew by 4.1% year-on-year, again falling below the national average. This marks the 4th consecutive quarter that Guangdong has lagged behind the national average, indicating that the economic engine has entered a period of rare growth stagnation. Have you ever seen shops that cost over $280,000 per square meter back then? This is Shangshuju Pedestrian Street in Guangzhou, a nationally renowned pedestrian street that used to be packed with people. Now look at it, closed down, the entire street is empty. Besides the normal rent, you used to have to pay transfer fees of tens of thousands of dollars, even entry fees of tens of thousands of dollars. People lined up to buy them. At its peak, a 10 square meter shop cost over $2.8 million. Can you imagine how many memories this whole street evoked?
广州投资上千万的潮汕大酒楼现在开始撤店。
A large Chaozhou restaurant in Guangzhou with an investment of over 10 million yuan is now closing down. These are owners who came from surrounding areas to select equipment. They look rushed yet picky, their faces beaming with happy smiles. Some even drove from as far away as Hunan. To save tens of thousands of yuan, these bosses are really going all out. This is one of the scenes I have mentioned regarding the hundreds of large restaurants. One whale falls, all things spring up, perfectly describing this situation. My goodness, they've all gone out of business. It's not just one store, it's an entire street. You see? An entire street. Before, I said that food delivery was doomed this year. Why? Because the platform rules changed. If you don't offer dine-in service, I'm telling you, it's useless no matter what you do. Nobody can save you. Mei Jai has gone out of business. It only lasted a month, so don't invest recklessly. Reckless investment will only lead to bankruptcy. Look at this once thriving street. Have you noticed that it's becoming increasingly difficult to see a single customer in physical stores? Let me tell you about my experience today. It's Friday and I was at Wanda Plaza in Baiyuan District, Guangzhou. From the first floor to the second floor, I'm telling you, you probably won't believe it, but across all categories of physical stores, dozens of brands, there wasn't a single customer. Can you believe how tough it is for us, physical store owners? Last time's glance, tens of millions of money have been gone. Another time's glance, another tens of millions are gone. This is Shaojing, Shenzhen. It used to be a very prosperous and bustling place, especially during rush hour when it was always crowded. Now it's desolate, it's fallen into decline. The prosperity is gone. A faint sadness wells up in my heart.
你们知道现在广州跌
Do you know how badly Guangzhou's property market has deteriorated? A condo I bought in Tianhe for $170,000 has already dropped to $85,000 this year. Developers still have dozens of units with full finishes that they can't sell. Where have all the people in Guangzhou gone? Are they all planning to go back to their hometowns? Guangdong's economy has long relied on exports and manufacturing. Electronic, machinery, and home appliance products from Shenzhen, Dongguan, Foshan, and other places are important pillars of China's foreign trade. However, against the backdrop of global supply chain adjustments and geopolitical tensions, the export-oriented economic model faces severe challenges. Recently, Jinbao Electronics, a nearly 30-year-old company in Chang'an Town, Dongguan, officially ceased production and dissolved on November 18th. At its peak, the factory employed over 10,000 people and was once among Dongguang's top 10 export companies. Rumors of its relocation to Thailand have circulated for over a decade. Other major factories in Chang'an, Dongguan, such as Jinbao, Litan, Puxi, Fujitsu, Xingang Shoe Factory, and Fuwan Printing and Dyeing, have also ceased to exist.
鼎鼎有名的日本
The renowned Japanese company Toshiba's factory in Fuyang, Shenzhen, is about to relocate. It's expected to be vacated by June next year, leaving behind a standalone 60,000 square meter factory with a good appearance, ample open space, and convenient parking. It can be rented out in smaller units. A loading-unloading platform is available on the first floor. Those interested can visit the site for inspection.
东莞的制造业将迎来一场大洗牌。
Dongguang's manufacturing industry is about to undergo a major reshuffle. What exactly happened this year? Experts point out that the main reason is overcapacity. However, at the same time, orders from countries like India and Vietnam are growing rapidly. It's clear that production capacity is being transferred to other countries, but these countries are not accepting the changes. Some experts have suggested eliminating some low-end manufacturing industries. Even high-end domestic manufacturers like BYD, Huawei, Foxconn, and Midea are shifting their production lines to the global market.
说实话，现在东莞
To be honest, the hardest hit people in Dongguan right now might not be the young people who can't find jobs, nor the elderly in their 40s and 50s still working, but rather the bosses who are outwardly called Boss A or Boss B, but have actually already emptied their pockets. In Dongguan's economic climate, most factories are losing money, owing suppliers a lot of money, and many are closing down and running away. But these bosses have to be humble and obsequious in public, dealing with all sorts of inspections and social engagements, while internally they still have to pay salaries and maintain their teams. Late at night, they still have to think about how to develop new clients. In a big city like Dongguan, with elderly parents and young children to support, they can't even afford to close down.
东莞又有一家工厂跑路了。
Another factory in Dongguan has gone bankrupt, owing over 700,000 in rent. They've abandoned the equipment on site, leaving us landlords in a terrible mess. This is in Tangshan town, specifically Shigu town. They've been in arrears for a year. When I asked for the rent, what did they say? They kept making countless promises to pay the rent and utilities, but they never had the money. It's like we're paying for their production. I couldn't stop their production, so they just abandoned the equipment and mortgaged it to me.
其实现在很多的工厂企业跟倒闭差不多。
Actually, now many factories and businesses are practically bankrupt. Don't be fooled by the fact that a dozen or so people still work every day. The money the bosses use to pay salaries is all loans. On the surface, it looks like there's a constant flow of people, but the bosses can't do anything even if they have orders because they don't have the money to buy raw materials. Today, I visited a factory and the owner immediately started telling me his entrepreneurial story as soon as he walked in. He said he couldn't even pay this month's salaries and was still borrowing money everywhere. Although he has an order worth several $100,000, he couldn't produce it at all. Because before, you could run the business on your credit, but now even a tiny bit of material requires cash.
跑路了啊，兄弟们，准备从信丰从头开始了。
Running away brothers, preparing to start over in Xinfeng. My furniture factory in Nongkong, which I ran for over 10 years, still went bankrupt and had to be transferred. I was somewhat prepared for the situation, but I didn't expect it to actually happen. I'm a little out of control. The factory has already been sold and mortgaged to pay off debts. I have around 114,000 in debt. There's still a shortfall in paying the workers' salaries and compensation. My wife and I are going back to our hometown in Xinfeng to clear out all the inventory. Then I plan to sell this Mercedes that I've had for several years to pay the wages of my old employees first. The Financial Times reported that Alicia Garcia Herrero, chief Asia-Pacific economist at Naxos, stated that tariffs have a significant impact on Dongguan because Dongguan businesses are located at the heart of the US-China trade war. Many well-known Chinese real estate companies, including Evergrande, Kaisia, Vanke, and Country Garden, are headquartered in Guangdong. The sharp drop in housing prices has led to weak consumer and business confidence, with Guangdong's retail sales falling below the national average. In this light, Guangdong's situation is indeed far worse than before. Can you believe it? This is Shenzhen. Why is Shenzhen so desolate?
真正我敢说
I dare say 90% of brick-and-mortar stores in Shenzhen won't survive this winter, you know? Since September, businesses in all walks of life are barely hanging on. Fruit sellers, vegetable vendors, clothing store owners, everyone is gritting their teeth and barely holding on. Do you think any industry in Shenzhen can still survive now?
来，大家看这一条街啊，
Look at the street. Some shops changed their signs 3 times in a month, and some couldn't even last a month after opening. Like this shop, it started as a shaxian snack, then moved to snail rice noodles, and now it's selling boiled vegetables. It changed its sign 3 times in 1 month. And then there's that braised pork rice noodles over there. It opened on the 20th of last month, and now it's preparing to close down soon too. That's all for today. If you enjoy our content, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe, leave a comment, and share it with a friend. We appreciate your support, and we'll see you next time.